Hello friends, welcome to the Microbiology for Everyone. Today we will be learning about the definition of virus. So by definition, virus is known as the smallest obligate intracellular infectious agents. Okay, so viruses are known as the smallest obligate intracellular infectious agents. So what are intracellular infectious agents and what are obligate intracellular infectious agents? So if you see just a virus, this is the representation of a virus where we have the capsid here, and this is the outer envelope of the virus with the glycoprotein spikes. When we'll be learning about the structure of the virus, then in details we'll be learning about it. Now this is just a representation of a virus or a virion. Virion is a virus particle. Okay, a single virus particle is a virion. So this is a virion. So this virion won't attack the individual directly as such or get into the infectious process directly. Rather, what it will do is it will take the cellular machinery of that person, which means it will infect a particular cell. Okay, it will get into it. Now this will hijack the cell machinery, and it will then instruct the cell to perform transcription, translation and protein synthesis of the viral proteins. And finally, this particular virus will be produced inside the cell, rupturing the cell membrane. It will come out and infect other cells. So this is the process of infection that is involved, and by which more and more cells will be infected. So this is what we call as an intracellular agent. Okay, intracellular infectious agent. And obligate means it has to. There is no other way. It cannot directly infect the human being, but only when it will take up the cellular machinery it can infect. So that makes it obligate intracellular infectious agents, right? So again, we'll go by the definition. Viruses are the smallest obligate intracellular infectious agents. So it can cause infection only when it gets into a cell. Okay, so that is about the definition of virus. So as we see, a virion structure is very simple. We have the virus. There are actually three layers. Inside we have the genetic material, and the genetic material is within a capsid, and this capsid is again within an envelope which is having some spikes. The capsid is again made up of small protein subunits. They are known as capsomere. So this is the structure of a virion. So we have already seen the definition as well as the morphology of the viruses. Now let's see some general characteristics or salient features of viruses. Number one, they are smaller than that of the bacteria, and around this they are around of the size of 20 nanometer to 400 nanometer, and they lack enzymes for protein and nucleic acid synthesis. And we have already seen the structure. We have seen that they have a capsid, they have an envelope, they have a capsid, and within the capsid they have the genetic material. But there are no provisions of any enzymes within it. These are general characteristics, but some viruses do have some enzymes in them. But in general, they lack enzymes for protein and nucleic acid synthesis. They also lack any cellular organelles like ribosomes. There is no binary fission evident in viruses. So they do not reproduce on their own, and they contain RNA and DNA as the genetic material. And lastly, they are all resistant to the antibiotics. So these are the salient features of the viruses. So we have already seen the definition, morphology, and as well as the characteristics of viruses. Now let's see the classification of viruses. Now viruses can be classified into three broad categories, right? They are on the basis of the genetic material that they contain, on the basis of the envelope. That is, we have seen in the morphology that it has a very simple structure. We have a capsid, and beyond that capsid we have an envelope. Now some virus comes without this envelope, and we call them as naked virus, and some are enveloped. So based on the presence of envelope, we can also classify them as enveloped or naked virus. And the third way of classifying is the host specificity, whether it is based on to which population the virus is actually infecting, whether it's infecting animals, whether it's infecting plants, or whether it's infecting bacteria. So based on the host specificity, we can also classify the virus. Okay. And the first classification based on the genetic material, whether it's an RNA or a DNA virus, or the genetic material can be an RNA or a DNA. It can be a single-stranded RNA, it can be a double-stranded RNA, it can be a single-stranded DNA, or it can be a double-stranded DNA. We'll see this in details when we'll be seeing the genetic material, right? So this is about the classification of the virus broadly.